Pretty simple ball bearing arrangement, the way they're caged. They just took the outer sheet metal housing and they indented them between each ball just to captivate the ball inside the main body of the bearing. So now I'm going to see how this unscrews or just comes loose and get those to soaking. Welcome back, everybody. Fall has officially arrived here. We went from 80s and suddenly a big temperature drop, and it's a gorgeous 65 degrees outside right now. I think our high today is going to be 72. Yeah, I'm still dinking around with this Camelback drill press. Today, I'm going to go ahead and see if I can unscrew the rack from the main body of the spindle here. You can see there's some set screws in there. And also investigate this pin arrangement a little more where the chain for the counterweight attaches. So I'll get you in a tripod and we'll start taking this apart. I've got a surprise planned for the next video I put up. It has nothing to do with this drill press project. It's something completely different, but it's definitely vintage iron related. I'm not going to say any more about it other than just to let you know I plan on putting that up just kind of to break up the monotony of this. Let's see. All right, that one's loose. That one looks like it's missing. Full of dirt there. Let's try this one over here. Yeah, there's been a piece of vintage old iron that has a close connection to me that I'm going to be doing a little feature on, and so I'll share it with you guys. All right, what do we got? We've got a nice shoulder on this Allen screw here. This rack is pretty dirty. A lot of dirty mud on it from me squirting oil and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, that one's gorgeous too. Let's see here. Yep. All right. I don't know if it looks like there's supposed to be a center Allen in there as well, but it's just packed with dirt. It might be missing. You can't probably make it out inside there, but that pin is in there for holding the chain. So it's time to head to the parts washer because this stuff is pretty filthy. Well, in the last video, I mentioned in my closing statements that I better get cracking and get on the hunt for an electric motor. I didn't expect to find one this quickly, but I mentioned several videos ago that a group of us were going to go to this vintage line shaft machine shop. All that stuff was going up for sale, and we're going to go see what we could obtain. Well, I mentioned in earlier video in this series all the drill bits that I got there. I didn't film anything there because I never really got a clear answer or a clear signal from the owner that it would be okay. And so, better part of valor, I decided not to film. Well, anyway, a friend of mine in Power from the Past, he purchased several items and won a great big compressor. So I went back today to help him haul it. And there was something else he was interested in one of the sheds. Well, they went back there to look, and he came back and he said, "Hey, Matt, there's a great big electric motor laying on the dirt floor in that one shed there." Really? So I went and looked, and it's been laying there for decades in the dirt. Fortunately, it was undercover, but still in the dirt, and, the rodents have been all over it. But it's period correct. it has the paper belt pulley on the shaft. This thing is huge. It took 2 of us to lift this into the truck, so I'm going to have to employ the cherry picker to lift it out. But what's fascinating is I took a wire brush and I cleaned the tag off just quickly to get information. It's a General Electric motor. It's an induction motor. It's got a number on it. It's a, can't tell, type 4. Type KS. And then it's, can't read that. But it's a 60 cycle, 2 horsepower, 110 volts. And so let's see, it's a 24 amp. So that's going to draw some juice when you run it. Unless I can maybe wire this for 220 and then cut that down to about 12 amps. That's okay. I'll put in a 30 amp breaker to run the thing. It'll make my meter spin, but oh well. But anyway, I was amazed that it was just 110 volts. My concern was whether or not it was going to be 3-phase, because I'm not equipped with 3-phase in the shop. I'd have to get some kind of phase converter. But here we are. Now it's stuck. It doesn't turn. I've got to take it apart and clean it up, and it'll probably have to go to an electric shop to, you know, check the windings and the armature and all that. But I paid $30 for this, and I didn't have $30 in my wallet, so my friend was kind enough to loan me $30 from him, so I got to pay him back. And as I was walking away to pay the person that I was buying this from, he goes, 31, 32, 33. So we all had a good crack up about that. But it's got these spring-loaded oil cups on it. And look at the bearing housings on this thing. Another spring-loaded oil cup back here. Sorry about the crappy camera work. So needless to say, I'm excited about this. This rack cleaned up nicely. There's the pin, the top of the rack that you attach the chain to. Oh, I see a little more dirt in there I missed. That's where the chain attaches to that goes to the counterweight. George, the Shade Tree Fix-It Man, mentioned in the comments in the last video this, hey Matt, why don't you use a wire rope or small diameter cable instead of using chain? And I thought, well, hey, that's not a bad idea. So I'll keep that in mind. This cleaned up really good. I did take a stone and go over all the surfaces because there were a few burrs, and I didn't want a burr to catch on anything, so I didn't run the stone over it, but it turned out really nice. So now on to the next batch of parts. I'm in the middle of this tedious and laborious cleaning process, getting all the rust off of these machined surfaces. I'm using 3M 600 sandpaper with a little WD-40 wet sanding, even though that says dry. I'm doing it wet because this fine grit paper clogs up so fast doing it dry, whereas using a little WD-40 adds a little lubricant that keeps the grit and swarf and everything else fluid and not stuck to anything. So periodically I'll stop, wipe the surface off with a dirty rag, and then start all over again. So yeah, this is the fun part, the boring part. Okay, a quick little diversion. This is my copy of the Encyclopedia of Antique Tools and Machinery by C.H. Wendell. This thing is an absolute treasure. And Mr. Wendell has published all kinds of books on vintage antique tractor history and all of that. Unfortunately, he is no longer with us. So all this stuff's out of print. I was fortunate enough to find my copy on thriftbooks.com. That's here in the US. You could do a Google search. See if I can do this single-handedly here. There's the ISBN number, so feel free to pause the video and go search for that. I'd check Abe Books, Thrift Books, and several other used book vendors online, because this thing is a real treasure. Why am I showing you this? Well, because it's got my drill press in it. Of course, this is a real small little clip in this book. It's under the blacksmithing section of all things, not the machine shop, but that's okay. Still functional. Couple of differences. Mine doesn't have this brace for the drive unit, which suggests to me this was a modification or an addition on the newer model drill presses, because they may have had trouble with this section down here breaking under tension. I'm just guessing, but there's no provision in my drill press that shows this casting. Also, if you look really close, these pulleys here and this assembly, that's the automatic down feed. I'm missing that off my drill press. I'll talk more about that in the closing part of this video. And barely discernible, right there, you see the chain attached to the top of the spindle for the counterweight that resides down in this column. It's not associated with the table. This whole jacking mechanism here is what raises and lowers the table. So there you go. So now what I'm going to do, a viewer, Robert Glenn, has the same drill press I have, and he sent a nice video clip of it operating. And so that's the next thing you're going to see here in a second. And Robert, if you're watching, I strongly encourage you to start a YouTube channel, because I think you've got a lot in your shop to share with the YouTube community. So let's cut to Robert's video of his gorgeous Champion blower and forged drill press in operation.
Okay, here it is. Sorry this took so long. Got an automatic feed. I'll film that at another time. I put new belts on it that aren't leather. I still have the original ones, but these are less susceptible for any kind of oil getting on them. So there's the automatic feed drive. This was added later. It's actually a spring cup from a stock car. I spent a lot of time in a shop that built race cars. All the original switches. And that sound is actually the sound of the gears. It's just two cast iron gears straight cut. swing it away. It's a lot of power too. I believe this thing would throw you across the room. Little aftermarket, once again from the stock car shop, guard. So there it is.
So I want to thank Robert Glenn for sending us that video clip of his glorious Camelback drill press, Champion Blower and Forge Camelback drill press. And if you noticed in the video, the paint scheme on his is the same exact color as mine. I am diligently going to try and save that. I've been getting a little pressure from some of you, which is fine. It doesn't bother me at all, and I know you mean well, to repaint the painted surfaces on this thing. I'm not going to do that, and the reason why I'm not going to do that is I have a tendency to clean things up and strip them and paint them all nice and pretty, and then I'm afraid to use them. Case in point, my Champion Blower and Forge company. Forge. I restored this 7 years ago before I had a YouTube channel. And I spent a long time fixing it up, cleaning it up, new fasteners, new paint. I haven't fired it up once since I did it because I'm afraid I'm going to destroy the paint. So it's just a shop ornament for fear of damaging this beautifully restored paint surface and all of that. I'm going to restore the mechanical pieces of this, and then I'm going to put it in service. I'm going to use it, and if it's got beautiful paint and pinstriping, everything else on it, I'll be kind of afraid to touch it, which takes all the joy out of it for me. I mean, I want this stuff working. So I hope you understand. I'm not being critical of those that said, hey, Matt, paint that thing. I get it. And that's fine, especially if you're working on your restorations. If that's what you do, wonderful. But on this particular one, I'm going to leave her in her working clothes. I think that's just the right way to go. So, and also, if you notice in Robert's video, there's a couple of small pulleys in his shaft and so forth. That's driving the power feed down. My drill press is missing that. So I'm going to get a hold of the folks where I picked this up a couple years ago and see if they'll allow me to come back and tour the old building that I took it out of. Hopefully it's not been torn down yet, and if it has been, hopefully they didn't scrap the remaining pieces in there, because I think they might be in that building. Because when I first picked this up and I discovered the bottom pulley set for driving the whole thing was missing, and I called them back. Sure enough, it was covered up with a bunch of junk in the corner of the shed, and they graciously dug it out for me, which I really appreciate. So last time I checked, I'm up to 704 subscribers. So the channel keeps growing, so I give you all many thanks for that. Appreciate that very much. And with that, I'm going to sign off, and we'll see you real soon on the next one, which isn't going to be about this drill press project. It's something else. A lot of fun. So with that, we'll see you later. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you soon. Bye now.